That's not how you do a countdown.
No, usually go 3, 2, 1, and then yeah. Oh, I know, but usually you go 3, 2, 1, and then on the one, that's where you hit everything. But you're like, okay, we're unmuting now. We're hitting on starting screen.
Three, two,
Hello,
one.
hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Geekverse podcast, the season 2 review of the Mandalorian. I am, I am the night nurse, Travis Snell.
Did you have to check your note to remember your nickname there? What was that
Nope,
delay?
it's not
Okay.
because I was trying to think of a good one without spoiling. It's a coy one. I'll explain my spoilers why it's a good one.
I am the caged Kirklin Patzer.
Roll with. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching live on video, what we're gonna be trying to do some experimenting, whatnot. Shouts to Taylorfield. He's doing so. If you're watching video and if you're live chat, always let us know. But let us know this time because we're trying some new background, some new stuff, some new software, as always. Because with COVID, whatnot, it's great to hear all this stuff about vaccines and everything, but never know. So this is a good setup, and we're gonna be looking a little more prettier. So Taylor's been working hard. So trust us that Taylor but he's calm now, but before he's a little rattled. But well, you
You were
didn't
at
have to.
Walmart.
Yeah, no, he didn't go to Walmart. Yeah, but
Oh,
you're
I
gonna
thought
go
you were at
there when you pick
Walmart
up
to get
Madison,
the.
aren't you? Yeah, he's such a fucking liar. He's such a liar. He tries to put it on us. But yeah, so as always with mics, with the video, we're trying new software, so bear with us on that. And but on audio, everything should be a-okay, barring some water spillage or a broken cord and stuff, which always happens here at Geekverse. But what we're
Always.
doing today is we're reviewing Chapter 13 of The Mandalorian. Before we get started, Taylor, where can they find us on the interwebs? Mhm. Have you?
Very nice.
Yep. Oh no, Kirkland. No, I think. Oh yeah, I guess so. I think by the time they listen to this, it'll be shifting over because Spider-Man just annihilated poor Sam, undeserving.
Yeah.
What? Well, yeah, I don't know. Kirkland, go finish the game, then talk to me. So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, you can review us on your favorite podcatcher, specifically Apple and iTunes, whatever it's called nowadays. Who knows? I just want to shout out because last week we were busy, we had to be quick, but I want to shout out Jimmy Feffy 18. He reviewed us last week. He gave us a 5-star review. He said, "Been listening since Avengers Endgame was coming out. You guys are great and hilarious. Forget all the haters because if you're complaining about something that's free, then you got issues. I don't normally write a review because I'm too lazy, but Travis going ham on some sad sack crying and leaving a 2-star was the best. That was the quickest way to my heart is pettiness. Keep up the great work. Much love." So Jimmy, and maybe that's a little Jimmy. Who knows? I'm not sure. We've been talking about for years, but just that's why. Thank you very much. A little backstory there. We were promoting the charity stream, and I just got some kind of fucker. That fucker though did change his 2-star review to a 3-star review, so he did hear us, but he was still probably mad.
You
Yeah,
went
yeah,
and
yeah.
adjusted
He did
as
give us a
you
pass, but still, and you know what, the guy gave 3-star review. We're always open to it, but this is where, like Jimmy said, we do our promotion because we don't do it at the end because people don't really listen to that. And we do it at the beginning because we got tons of stuff like Patreon. You can get the ad-free version. You can get Stars holiday specials up there right now for the $10 patrons. Jingle All the Way is up there. It's Kirkland's first time watching that. And then next month, everything on the $10 tier goes on the $5 tier at that. And we're having some plans for what we're doing content wise. I know. Actually, I can't say that yet because there are going to be some patrons are going to be voting on what retrospectives we do. So lots of fun stuff there. It's almost December, so soon we're going to be, I guess, we're reviewing Wonder Woman. So look out for that. We're going to be reviewing every episode of Mandalorian coming up. We got WandaVision, so tons of fun stuff. I want to shout out Carl Ritchie and Aaron Braden, our Patreon producers, the nice team, and they keep the show going. Thank you very much for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Also, check out the podcast network, 7 days a week, 10 shows. So lots of content there if you like the geekdom we talk about. And just another shout out to Jimmy because that makes my heart full. Like you said, it's great. It balances the force. So As always, what we do here, we are going to give our overall thoughts on this episode of Mandalorian, and then we're going to get into spoilers. We will give you a 3, 2, 1. We'll let you know. Obviously, tons to talk about today. So, Kirkland Patzer, what did you think about Chapter 13? I can't even give the title, but Chapter 13 of The Mandalorian.
The title, come on. Like, even though there is a spoiler in the title, I feel like you could at least read the title. The title name is Chapter 13. Uh, no, yeah, this episode, I really enjoyed it. I felt like I wasn't like again without going to spoilers, but without like the big reveal happening, like I wasn't too blown away like right off the bat. I feel like as the episode went on, I started like liking it more and more. And but yeah,
Hard to please.
the planet that they're on, at first I didn't really like the lighting of it whatsoever, but as the episode progressed, I really started liking it. It was just very gloomy and it was nice. I had a couple of issues with like there's a couple of characters that were standing and then they would have just like the color of the planet in the background and it just looked really green screeny for me. I usually don't notice it, at least this season, so it's definitely something that caught my eye. But overall, it was a really good episode. Definitely great season so far. This is just so much better than last season, and yeah, I'm excited to talk spoilers and ask Taylor more questions because that's the recurring theme throughout these reviews.
I'm so
The Filoni episode.
He doesn't like riddles though, remember, just questions. I'm
No,
surprised, Kirkland, because in a non-spoiler way, this episode reminds me so much of Ghost of Tsushima. Like obviously it's like the show's a
mm,
western, but like there's lots of samurai vibes already in the show, but this was like a full-on samurai episode. I love the landscape. I think this is
I
yeah,
said it was
maybe
a
he
good
does.
episode.
Uh, I love this is probably one of my favorite planets we've been to, and they obviously we all speculate that there is going to be a big thing happening in this episode. It may or may not happen, but I'll just say that it delivered. I've said this, I've been on record for a while that since Rise of Skywalker, my love of Star Wars has been kind of wavering. It's something I've loved my whole life. I'm never going to be like, fuck the films and never watch them. It's just like my future excitement for Star Wars. You know, it was just in this place of like, can I ever get to that hype again of opening day or being very excited? And honestly, this episode had some moments where I sat on the edge of my couch and I was getting ready and I was getting excited. I've always said that I think Force Awakens is the best Star Wars movie they've done. You know, screw Rogue One, it's overrated. And then I think for TV shows, Clone Wars, those last 4 episodes are phenomenal. Those are movie quality. This is up there. If I'm making a top 3 for the best things they've done on film for the Star Wars or TV for the Star Wars Disney era, this episode was this because it's that perfect combination of what we talked about a few weeks ago. Mandalorian has everything: heart, humor, intrigue, action, character development, story development, plot development, but then also Easter eggs. It's not like the first episode, which I like, but it's like I've said before, it's like, look at Anakin's thing. Look at this. This is like there's Easter eggs that are cool, but they're also vital to the story. Like there's one important one that Taylor showed me today where it's like if you miss it you miss it, but it doesn't really it's not in your face. That's what I like about it, but it's also semi part of the story because it informs a character. So obviously, like I said, if people have seen the show, they know what we're talking about. The big thing delivered tenfold. It was, yeah, this is this, and now season 2 overall. I remember season 1 where I was started really excited, and then I got less and less excited because I remembered, or I figured out that it's just this kind of adventure of the week deal. Where this season I started less excited because it started with that. It started with the crate dragon, and I really liked the episode. But now every episode since then has got a story or development, and I absolutely love it. And I'm so happy. Like I said, this is probably the happiest I've been watching anything since Clone Wars when we did it, or Force Awakens, to be honest. Because people hate Last Jedi. I really like Last Jedi. It has some great moments, but overall, it's like, oh, I have some problems. This just start to finish, I think it's its best episode. This is my favorite episode, and Filoni really redeemed himself after Toro. I feel because he knew he screwed up. You know, he done fucked up, so he had to come back strong. And I'm glad. And again, we shout this out every week, but I think it needs to be said, especially in spoilers I talk about. Ludwig again is just phenomenal. I love the themes of this planet. I love the themes of the new characters we meet, and it's just like every week it feels like it's like a director where this must be a new guy doing it, but it's not. It's the same guy every week putting out new material. You still get the sense of this is Ludwig because he has that vibe, but it's like I just worry he's using all his best shit like on this show because he's just going through so much stuff. But Yeah, I don't know if like obviously they're happy doing TV. I'm happy with them doing this, but if they ever want to do a movie, I just feel like you got to greenlit John Favreau directing, Filoni producing, writing, and Ludwig scoring, and we got some magic. And obviously, it's not always magic, but this was a stellar episode, and I absolutely loved it. So, Taylor, how do you feel about this episode? I know you were telling me last night how much you hated it.
Your non-spoilers. I love it. The character that was there, the content that happened, and
Taylor, what are you doing to our? I just caught up. What did you do to our stream right now? You just put up the gross moth. So this is why our new program, our software. Oh my god, Kirkland, have you seen the Moff Gideon toy?
oh yeah,
Yeah, and this is what
on the
he yeah,
feed,
go to our
yeah, so
Geek First YouTube right now. He just put him up and that is an awful toy. Like that's the Black Series. And I'm sorry, like Taylor, do not spend money on that. Like I have Black Series. I got a Black Series Kylo and Ray from Force Awakens, and he looks fantastic. That's like look at his eyes. Like Clay said it best in our Discord, which you can go join our Discord, chat to us and all our other listeners. He's like, he's peering into my soul. He really he really
oh
is.
yeah.
A bone. That just oh wow. That's that's something. Especially when you saying juicy shit is another thing that I don't know if I need to visualize. But yeah, we're getting into spoilers. We're gonna throw to an ad right now before we get into spoilers as always. So this helps support the channel. If you want an ad-free feed, go over to Patreon. But this helps support the channel, helps grow. That helped us start the podcast network, to be honest. So you guys support the show. So we thank you very much. You're gonna hear an ad right about now. And now we are back. We're gonna get into spoilers. So three, two, one. We are here. We're talking chapter 13, The Jedi, as Kirkland Patzer wanted to say.
It's like in the stream. Come on, why can't I say it on the non-spoilers?
I know, even the thumbnail is Ahsoka. It's a weird sort of thing. We debated it all day, me and Taylor, if we used Ahsoka in the thumbnail, but we saw enough other people use it and even websites, so we're like, we're using it. So you know what? If anyone has a problem, please let us know. Don't hit us with a fucking 1-star review or anything like that. Just let us know, tweet or message us, and maybe we won't do it in the future. But this was like the worst kept secret. So Taylor, I will start with you because you are the person we know. You're a big canon guy. You are a big Clone Wars guy. You and I
Filoni,
go check
Filoni
out.
fighter.
Yeah, Filoni fighter. Yeah, that's a good one. Um, so you are a massive fan of Filoni, all his type of stuff. This was rumored for a while. You and I covered. Go check out Clone Wars retrospective. We reviewed all of Ahsoka's storyline, but well, other than Rebels, but and also we did a separate video when this was rumored that Rosario Dawson was cast. This was a big fan cast for a long time, and it's weird. It's one I feel like this is happening a lot recently. Of like, oh, it'd be great if Toby came back, and he's coming back, and it's like it'd be great if like she plays. So it's like the people are listening, you know. So Taylor, how did Ahsoka? Obviously, you kind of said this in non spoilers, but it lived up to your expectations. Tell us how. Tell us that moment because I know the beginning, those first 5 minutes was a pop off moment because that moment was draw dropping. There, the introduction of Ahsoka. No.
In Cannon Town. Yeah, it's interesting you say that because
We're full in canon time. And that go ahead.
awkward. I was gonna say, like, for me, like, yeah, that was super like, it was an eerie setting. I liked how it especially they had a couple cool camera angles of, like, from her perspective, and it looks like she's, like, the monster in, like, the monster film, like, hunting down these people, so, like, that stuff was really cool, but for whatever reason, I just felt like it was a little I might have just been really tired when I watched this, but, like, I just felt like it was a little lackluster, like, the combat-wise. I thought her movements were a little sluggy. Again, I'm not a Clone Wars guy, so I'm not, like I don't have attachment to that. I just thought it was a little sluggish, but however, like, later on, when her and Mando go back there and, like, she jumps up, slices the bell, and, like, all of that combat for the rest of the episode, I absolutely loved. So, it definitely was a progression for me of, "Oh, yeah, this a little bit lesser than what I was expecting for, like, the first big reveal of, like, a Jedi, in this live action show," but it definitely got there by the end of the episode, so it was definitely exciting. Oh, yeah, like, I'd seen, like, the first handful of seasons or not seasons, sorry, first handful of episodes. So, like, the Jar Jar stuff, the Plo Koon, it's just like, "We're just clones, we're supposed to be expendable." Not to me. I know that line. Yeah, that that's a good observation that you just made, how, like, the different types of Jedi that we see, especially in, like, the newer trilogy, like, they're very different than, like, the prequel Jedis, right? And, like, the Jedi Order, obviously, there's no Jedi Order to, like, train them and teach them that way, so it is interesting seeing Ahsoka in the live action and, like, seeing her kinda being a hybrid of, like, being a part of the old guard as well as, like, post Episode 6 where she is now, so and I again, to my fault, I haven't seen all of Clone Wars, so I know that she has some really great character development. I have a couple buddies other than you guys that have watched it, told me to watch it, telling me all about her story and how amazing it is. And you guys as well have been, or I guess it's mostly Taylor been telling me about. I don't know if Travis is usually popping off about the Clone Wars, but yeah, so it's definitely something I got to do. She is a really interesting character. I loved her look. I think again, like, pitch perfect casting in my eyes. She looks so great, and her lightsabers were so dope. Oh man, yeah. Other,
Oh,
no. Can I make a guess? Can I make a guess? Is it because she's not a Jedi anymore? Is it yeah, okay, that was my only guess. Is it a spoiler? Probably. Okay, tell me.
Just so build up. You want to know? Huh? Want to know? Huh?
Yeah, yes. Synthetic crystals. So she fixed the red side saber. Ooh, damn, that's pretty dope.
Well, that's the biggest things for me is one, I kind of echo everything you guys say. I have nothing more to say other than what I said, non spoilers. Now, just Rosario Dawson. We kind of knew if this is true, they got good casting. You know, it's like we never really that was never the issue. I was never like, oh, this is like we've seen her, and that's why I called, Night Nurse. That's who she is in the Netflix series. Like she's great there. She's great in the Kevin Smith one. So it's
Mm,
like she's a phenomenal actress, and she does a great job. And I hope that we're going to talk about, but I hope that all these rumors are true about her getting the spin-off live action show because I think she could lead it, and she I think carried the essence of Ahsoka well enough. And you also got to remember that she's playing Ahsoka, but she's playing Ahsoka 5 years from when we last met her, right, Taylor? Roughly. Yeah, so that's the thing where she can do little changes. She's like been through some stuff, and that's the thing I know there's some people that are still upset that it's not actually accident, but at the end of the day, they need a top level actress. And I'm not saying Ashley couldn't be that, but Rosario Dawson has a proven track record. If it was just a cameo, I could understand why you'd get the voice actress to play her live action. But if it's what I hear, and I think what they said in the show, it looks like whether she's in this show a lot or she's just going to be a spin-off series, she's going to be around quite a bit. So you need someone that is really good at what they do, and that's what Rosario does. So she did a good job. I loved all her interactions with Mando, even in like some kind of like cute flirting ways, because you watch Clone Wars, she does she's just like her other masters. She kind of maybe thought about having a boyfriend outside while she was in the Jedi Order. So she's DTF
that's the
if you're
fall
the
of the
right guy,
Jedi
you
right
know.
there.
So
Their, like, lust, their horniness is the death of the
no,
Jedi.
I think the fall of the Jedi was making that rule because them if there
Oh,
was
yeah.
no hey you can't do this,
It's all
they
that
wouldn't
pent
lust
up
after it so much,
sexual
you know.
energy, yeah, and then they start thinking, dark side thoughts.
100%.
Just blowing force
I don't
loads.
know. You tell me I can't have. You tell literally at the age
Shooting
of
force
10 you get
loads.
brought into something and they're like you will never touch a woman or have sex or whatever, you will never be able to do any of
Oh,
this.
yeah.
It's just like yeah I might turn the dark
It's
side
like,
too, so
it's like like a bishop in the church, same sort of thing, right? And they get all that pent up
yeah
sexual
let's
energy.
not go there.
There's similarities.
Let's not talk about. So no, I'm not doing my point. No, I'm not. You no. So Ahsoka, great. We'll probably see her again. What the moment was, I liked all the fighting. I'm not here. I Kirklin Patzer. It's Switch. She gets to be the hater this season. I'm just joking. But anyway, so what I loved is when we finally got to see Ahsoka. You guys know I've complained about this so much. Is seeing different color lightsabers finally. Like how long has Star Wars been around? And we've had three colors. Four, I guess, if you're counting purple, but it's just pretty much Mace Windu's color. I know there's sometimes yellow now because of Rise of Skywalker, but that was in there for a second. The main ones that have been main character seeing is the red, green, and blue. And I love the colors. But I remember when we got new Star Wars movies, like, oh, we're gonna get so much cool shit, and they're gonna really change it up, and we're gonna get variation. And we didn't. We got Anakin's lightsaber, we got Kylo's lightsaber, which was great, but I just wanted more. So seeing these two white blades chopping people down, I was like, this fucking feels like new Star Wars, even though it's a prequel in a way of like this was before Force Awakens. This feels new. This feels fresh. This feels like untapped potential. And the area we went to, like when they had those people like Kirkland's nickname in the cages, that felt like a Knights of Old Republic thing again. They do that many times, but that felt like just a moment where you're trying to save these people. But I love just that, seeing like new lore in stuff that even if it's the past, we finally got to see stuff like that. And that's one thing I will say the Mandalorian is doing great is we are that the trilogy didn't get to do. We're experiencing and showing new sides of Star Wars worlds, but also just lore or canon or also something as simple as a lightsaber. And that's why we'll give them credit for years. I said canon doesn't matter. We need to see in the movies because they've not really got to that point yet in the movies, but they're showing that now finally, this is what I was told, Kit Taylor, and we did it for the well, excuse me, for the review series. But it's like, why should I invest in canon if they're just gonna ignore it, right? And that's what the movies pretty much did. They might make a little eye wink, oh, here's Saw Gerrera, but really, you don't need to watch them. Again, the best thing they did. Oh my god, I need water. The best thing they did with Ahsoka is they make you more interested. Like Kirkland, oh, I want to watch more, find out more, but you didn't have to know everything about her to enjoy her in this episode. And that's
Yeah.
where something like Maul and Solo, when Maul's there, that's so much of how's he alive? How's he doing this?
Yeah.
That's like there's where Ahsoka's just like, oh, this is a Jedi, that's cool. And then someone goes, hey, there's a show about her. She has her own book. Oh, I'm gonna look into this. The same way as Game of Thrones, that yes, it's different because the books, it's a different way because the book was going forward. But still, if you really liked something or like an aspect, they go, oh, they talk about the way more in the books. You go, I'm gonna get in that. So that's what again, I just applaud them everything they did with the so in this episode. Taylor, you can go unless Kirkland has his hand up question.
I was just gonna mention like leading up to, because it was such a terribly held secret that Ahsoka was gonna be in it. I was worried that I would have had to had prior knowledge of Clone Wars. I thought I was gonna have a lot more questions actually, like why did they talk about this, or why is she there because they mentioned this, and they kind of avoided that, which was in my eyes a really smart thing to do, because majority of people that have seen the show probably haven't seen Clone Wars, and to tie a character so much to a
100%.
show that like you need to watch it to actually enjoy it, I think that's definitely a fault, and I'm glad they didn't go that route. um they have like her white lightsabers. It's kind of like more of an Easter egg thing, as opposed to like I need to know what that is to understand why Mando met her. It's like, no, it's just something extra. So definitely props to them for balancing, like um or kind of like
Canon.
giving like bonus points if you had seen Clone Wars, and not so much
Yeah.
making a requirement. So
It's the MCU method. It's the
yeah,
second someone
definitely.
in the Avengers end credit scene, big purple guy pops up. Casual viewer goes, "Oh, that must be their next bad guy." Comic book reader goes, "That's fucking Thanos," and that's the good thing they built up
Yeah.
to him, and they made it so the casual viewer would be like, "Oh, that's fucking Thanos, he's coming." But that's the way of like it's just a little thing, and that's the thing of like this could have easily been it worked, but it could have easily been any other Jedi that they could have created, right? They could have created their own Jedi for their show, but they didn't. They
Mhm.
used Can, they used her, and it was a perfect setup. And again, I always say this. I think the hardcore Star Wars fans are smaller than people think. And what I mean by that is the people that read every single book, watch these shows. When this was on animation or whatever, I think Clone Wars did like about 2 million views. Not bad, but it's like there's way more Star Wars fans than just 2 million viewers. Obviously, people have watched it on replays and Netflix and Disney Plus, but I'm just saying the overall, I always talk about just people, Star Wars fans, just because people may see one Star Wars movie and not see it again for 5 years doesn't make them a fan. If they will show up every time, or if they're subscribed for Disney Plus, that makes them a fan. Like myself, I had dipped into canon, but I never dipped into a lot of things. But I consider that like for Geek to my third favorite love. But that's where it's like when you do stuff like this, it rewards you. And then even then, it makes me same thing today. I started watching Rebels again. I finished 1 and 2 the season, and I kind of took a break. But second, I was like, you know what? I want to finish her story out. I had the Star Wars hype, and that's what they got to do because that pushes people. The Maul thing was them trying that, but I think that was just confusing where people almost wouldn't really like. I don't know what didn't work to me, and I think that's why again you don't confuse people, you want to interest people, and I think that's what this episode did. It's like, who is Ahsoka? Who is the story? Why is she there? And they did such a good job, and I will credit that's I think a big thing to do with Filoni, and that's why he directed this episode because he created that character with George. So Taylor, I know you're about 50 minutes ago had to say something. Ashley Eckson, yeah. She's an actress outside. And it's not that Ashley's not an actress. It's just the proven track record thing, right? They want to go with somebody that they know can carry on screen stuff. Where let's say they gave it to her, and I'm not casting doubt on Ashley, but let's say she comes in and she's just not really there, like she's not bringing it screen wise. Then it's like, well, we're kind of screwed. Or you recast, and if you recast, that's more awkward. It's better to go with someone you know for sure has the goods.
Yeah. Well, how do like what's the look? Uh, like how does the voice actress look compared to Rosario Dawson? Because Rosario Dawson looks pretty good as like she has a similar face as like the Clone Wars version.
I don't think Rosaria is closer to the character than Ashley
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Oh. You've told me this before because the album to begin Clone Wars, the ending, the final season. Yeah. So but that's the thing where so you see this owl, right? It's an Easter egg. You know it's important uh to Ahsoka, and all you and me know that. For Kirkland, oh, it's just an owl.
yeah.
Cool,
I
and
didn't even.
that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's what's the perfect thing, though. It's
Yeah.
that to me is the right type of Easter egg where it doesn't make the viewer feel dumb and say like they're like let's say this owl got 15 seconds of flying around and it's like Taylor's favorite game, Eagle Flight, and people be like, why did we get this owl scene? That's random. And it's like, oh well, it's her friend. This is just a little Easter egg, and then maybe eventually explain more about this owl. But again, perfect to me, perfect way to do it because it's not right in your face. It'll and then people will learn about the owl. But I think in her own show, the owl will be a bit more uh, I I don't know, vital to the show. I don't
Yeah.
know. Around
Followed up with the game of the year for Taylor.
Eagle Flight. Love it. So I don't know where. So I guess we should talk about that. We've had many adventures with this little guy. He's gone from the
Yeah.
avocado
It was a big
to
moment.
Baby Yoda to now he is Grogru. He is Grogru. The whatever we don't know what he is from his species, but we got a lot of backstory, and there's lots more I want to talk about in this episode because we got oh Taylor, we got like a huge thing for you that must have gave you just a massive
Oh,
honor. But he said, "I'm gonna kill my grandma. I'm so excited." I went, "Okay, that's a
whoa.
little strange."
Hey, don't say
But
that.
so with Grogru, we have learned that he has been around obviously for about 200 years. That's his name. Him and Ahsoka get this great scene where they're vibing, reading each other, and that was probably my favorite scene. Like I love the fighting, but I knew we were gonna get like a campfire sit down in this episode, and when we did, and it was just great. And they're smiling again. For me, it's like when Taylor always talks about like the dog fights and the clone. For me, Star Wars is about Jedi and the Force. That's like my favorite thing. The Sith, like that lore. To see that is great. But we learned that he was at Coruscant in the Jedi
Mhm.
temples. When the attack happened, someone took him and hit him. Now, I'm gonna start with Kirkland. I have three questions for you. I'll start with number one. Why, like, how do you feel about that being revealed that he was around in a time that we were present? And two, who do you think was he hidden by some? Because what they also said is he was hidden and then his memory is gone from that point of view. Do you think he was hidden by someone good that was, oh, we're going to protect him? Or was that a chance that he got abducted? Because they just said somebody hit him and we don't know because he doesn't remember,
Yeah.
right? So he could have been being experimented on for 50 years or whatnot.
That is true. I'm having like a little itch that's telling me it was someone good, just trying to hide him for his safety. That's what I'll go with. And to say who, I I really don't know. It could be
Yeah,
some
yeah.
weird Clone Wars character that I've never seen before, so I don't want to take a shot in the dark there. But yeah, talking about like his memory loss thing, it's really interesting because it definitely has the possibility of maybe he went through. I mean, like Order 66 was a traumatic event, but maybe like an actual traumatic event that like affected him physically, kind of like what the doctor dude was doing to him in season one,
Mhm.
getting that M count level. So yeah, I'm interested in just finding out more about why he lost his memory, what caused it. Was it just he just did it to himself to try and like subdue his force powers that he wouldn't get identified by possibly a dark side user? I don't know. There's so many more questions that came out of this episode. It answered. We got his name finally, but definitely I was like, really? That's his name? Huh. I think I'm still gonna
Grogu.
call him
Yeah,
Avocado.
I think getting his name, we've always been like, I don't know if this works, but I'm
Yeah.
just so intrigued that I never thought they'd put him in this situation because I was saying this to Taylor. We got a win Call of Duty last night. Good job. Uh,
Oh, yes.
if you put him in that time, and as far as we've known, when we saw the avocado, we were like, other than what's the female's Yoda's name, Taylor? So yeah, no, other than her, we've only seen those two. We know in the books High Republic Yoda's coming, but they're very very rare species, right? To put him in the temples at that time would have meant that he could have been bumping into an Obi-Wan, an Anakin, a
Mm.
Yoda, and that's why I was saying to Taylor that I feel like they're setting up for flashbacks. Because how do you not have, if there is something of your same species and you're very rare? We've only seen two of them in these almost 60 years of Star Wars now, or sorry, 50 years of Star Wars. You're telling me that this Yoda, like in the lore, he didn't hear about, oh, there's a species just like you, and he didn't go down and talk to it, see it, like, and obviously I'm saying 40, 50 years as far as our canon. In Star Wars, that's the canon's millennia. So it's like it could have been a while other than Yaddle to see someone of that age. So I didn't think they would do that because I said to Taylor, I like it. It opens up a lot of possibilities, but it also opens up a lot of things they got to answer. Because if he was there during the temples and during Order 66, that's a lot of characters that probably would have seen him. At least for me, Yoda. I don't think Yoda would not have seen him if he knew it was his own species, something that's rare, and he was like, I don't care. Like, so I feel like Mhm. So, but that's what I'm saying. So does that mean Grogru came in the time when she left, from when she left to when Order 66, which is not that long, but is that when he came then? It would have to be, right? If she,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Full sheave. Mhm.
hey
Yeah.
Taylor, just check your sound there. Someone was just telling us you were cutting in and out. So I'm not sure if it was just something there, but I will listen to see. But Kirkland, you go ahead.
Uh, I just liked your point that you mentioned, Travis, how the fact that they mentioned that he was there on Coruscant before Order 66 happened, it definitely opens up a big can of worms. There's so much potential of like really good storytelling at like connecting this story. Let's say I don't really remember like what the Obi-Wan series timeline is going to be, but like, like let's say he's at the temple around that time, like they would have to maybe not. I don't know though, because maybe if it was just Yoda's apprentice, right? Like maybe it was just a very select handful of people that were actually training Grogru,
I think it's grow grew.
Grogu.
Like he grow and then he grew.
So two R's. No, only one R. Grogu. Okay. Avocado. So Grogu. What was I even talking? Oh yeah. So it definitely. I feel like if they handle it well in the other series of not necessarily making him a main character, but just maybe even like talking about like we have not mention him by name, but like we have this new force super highly force sensitive individual kind of describing him. I feel like that could even be a possible like Easter egg thing that they throw into like one of those other series that they do. It's really interesting the fact that now we know where he was that point in time and how they tackle it going forward, because I know we're not done with that era. I know we've done so many different Star Wars stories around that era, but I know we're not done. We're gonna be getting another series, whether it's Ahsoka's Tale and it goes around that time, whatever it is, we're going to be going back to that time. So it'll be interesting to see them mention it.
Well, we kind of have to now. So Taylor, we'll take a little break. The audio people never hear this talk, and I just want to hear if you get picked up because yeah, you weren't coming in at all there. So just make sure on OBS 2 your audio is being picked up, like when you talk, because we hear you on Discord here. Like
Yeah.
no, like it's not like last time where you're cutting it out. I think it's like an actual not hearing you thing, but I'll check on the YouTubes. Yeah, it's not a. Still nothing to Travis says. I think you were at one point. If not, then not sure what has happened. So on OBS, do you get when you talk when you're pumping up? Because check that on OBS because it might be capturing your desktop audio, but for your act,
I just
you
saw
make it a
the
separate track, right?
Gideon
Yeah.
toy.
Shout out to Travis Hines, host of GC Alliance Superhero Discussions, watching saving us. So this is the first day with the he cut in and
How
out,
is
but now
this?
he's gone altogether. Okay.
Ask Travis
What did you say?
now. I changed a setting. I might have missed a setting in here, but this should do it. He
I
should.
can hear you through the YouTube stream now.
Okay.
You
Or
can
I
hear him
couldn't.
now? Okay, yeah, Travis, let me Okay, he said
Yes.
perfect. Thank you very much, Travis. Everyone go support DC Alliance and, and all that stuff. He's always helping us out. This is the first day, Travis, with some new software, as you can see, so always bucking bugs. But
So hang on, just to
so
be just
no.
to be sure. So
Thank you,
like,
Travis.
what point did I cut out? Do we know, or was I talking at all earlier?
I don't know, but what I can do is if you're cut out at the beginning, I'll take down this video and I'll re-upload a video with the audio.
Oh, okay.
I can do
Cool.
that later.
Cool.
Yeah, so the audio still, I'll just have to re-upload it later, which is fine. So what I was going to ask is, and this I'll ask Travis question. He said, "Do you think we could ever see him communicate with Yoda through the Force?" Also, I'm iffy on the time period. Is this after 6 but before 7? Star Wars casual here. Love the episode. Don't worry, that happens. He said earlier it would cut in and out, but it was 10 minutes, so that's when it was around. So I can work with that. I can do some editing magic. So as far as so you have episode 6. The second Death Star blows up everything like that. That's 5 layers after that, correct, Taylor? That's what it is.
5
So
years.
it's 5 layers. Yeah, 5 layers after that. And I
did
so
you,
we, I
did you
stumbled
hear
into
that,
Taylor last
Kirkland?
night. Like,
What are you saying? 5 laters? Is that what you're saying?
It's 5
maybe
later.
I am. Maybe I am. I'm
So good.
tired. Like
I don't
4
know
a.m. Taylor.
or something. I couldn't hear properly.
But anyways, so I feel like you kind of have to, because I was saying this, Taylor, like you have to, these jokers just laugh at me. I feel like you have to give, and Travis will talk about that. Will Luke show up? That's the second question. I do have a question for everybody. But so Yoda, I feel like he'll either communicate or there could be a flashback. Because like you said, Taylor, so this is what was interesting to me. You said this before we had some problems there, that you said you think right away he could have been hidden, like he was never even with the other students. Because if he was hidden, that's very peculiar too, right? Like I feel like they were shady, the Jedi, but I don't know if they would hide him right away. Because if they didn't, like I said, I feel like Yoda does have to have some scenes, and maybe they have some sort of connection. If they can talk to Daisy Ridley and Rey and everything like that, you would feel that he could feel Yoda, I would think.
I would think, but again, he's cut himself off from the Force, and we have seen in the games like Jedi Fallen Order the damage that can be done when you cut yourself off from the Force, because this is like a prime example of Cal. So Grogu is literally following the same trajectory where he was super afraid and he cut his connection,
Yes.
and he can't connect with anyone in the Force really. Even Cal's master, she cut herself off because she got tempted by the dark side. So it's definitely a what would you call that, a problem of like of this new generation of Jedi, like a competence problem, or like can't get it up kind of thing.
Well, they weren't brought up the same way, right? They had to, yeah, that's
Need
Luke
a
sees
Force
them. Oh, he can't get it up. I see. Yeah, he can't get that you need that Force Viagra. But so, but the thing is, like, eventually, what if he opens himself up to, and then it could all hopefully come back. And that's where we talked about already, that with the dark side stuff. I liked the two things. One, we got that last year with Cara Dune, but even when he took the rock, or like whatever, the ship part from Mando, it felt very aggressive. It was just very like, it's mine. So I like that they laid those breadcrumbs even last year to show that without his training, he has, one, cut himself off the Force, so that's going to make his training even harder. And two, he's emotional, has attachment. So they've set that up well. I just think I don't know if so maybe you won't get him talking to Yoda, but I feel like you gotta do a flashback. I feel like that has to happen. Maybe not even this year, but before the show is over, he has to have flashback. And I think Kirkland's right. Like, we're not, them to me hinting about this. We're not done with that era. The second they said he was at the Jedi Council, he was in the council. He was at the temple, like,
Council. Just shit talking.
yeah, yeah. Anakin looks over. This little baby's a master, and I can't even be a master. He's 200 years old, Anakin. Get off it. But like, no, I think. I think it will happen. I think either way you'll get some sort of Yoda involvement.
I do agree. I do definitely agree. I think Yoda's going to be definitely pop it in there somehow. I do want to say that it was such an interesting take to see, this whole journey. We've just seen cute baby Yoda, Grogu, just looking like a little innocent child, right? And to actually
Mhm.
see the fact that, okay, he was holding, not that way, in a way we could understand it, but he was holding a conversation with Ahsoka and has all of
Yeah.
this actual, like, he just completely just changed his appearance to the form. Like, okay, we're reminded again, he's over 50 years old, and he is like an adult. He's got a perfect recollection of certain events of his past and his training and his timeline, and just again, like, we're in that position, same as Mando, where it's just like, wow, like you could speak to him, like this is all this information, like, and he has a name. And I love when they reveal that name, and Mando just looks down, is like Grogu, and he just like instantly shoots up and looks like,
Yeah.
it's so cool
Very
that he
nice
does
touch.
that. So
Mhm.
again, they've just added so much history to this character, this baby, and given him such like, the payoff is great. I'm glad we didn't get this in season 1. I'm glad it's come this far to get to this point.
Mhm.
Well, we've
Um,
learned a lot about him. Like last 2 weeks ago, we learned about like why uh, Gideon wanted him and everything like that. Now we're learning about his history. So I feel like now we learn about his history because in season 3, because clearly we talked about. I think it worked enough, but Ahsoka just being like, "I'm not going to train him at all." Like I get it. I understand because she made the whole Anakin like, "Oh, when people get attached, bad things can happen." So I do get it, but we knew. I thought they'd find a different way. I'm not even gonna say it wasn't that clever. It just felt like that was the easiest route of just
it
I'm
was an
not
eye
training.
roll
Like
moment,
okay,
even for me that hadn't seen Clone
yeah,
Wars.
it was
I'm
like
like, of
okay,
course,
you don't
yeah,
want to leave. You don't want Grogu to not be with Mandalorian yet. Okay, I understand. But at the end of the day, it is it sets up a lot of stuff for him to get into in season 3 now, especially Mandalorian. He's gonna be meeting other Jedi and getting into lore. So it's like it's not like
yeah.
if he dropped off Grogu, it'd be like okay, he's off fighting Gideon, he's more Mandalorian based. But now we're gonna talk about in the second. But with her saying, "Hey, go to that," what was that planet he's going to,
Wasn't
Taylor?
it Typhon or something like that? Or
Typhon. I think it was Typhon. I think it was Typhon.
oh, I think he froze. That always dekes me out. I can never tell.
I know. He's trolling us. He's gonna start doing it on purpose. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, just talking about the little eye roll. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, he's back.
Just the little eye rolling moment when she's like, or sorry, Mando says like, I filled out my end of the bargain. Now it's your turn. And she's like, oh, I will, but by doing that, I'm not gonna train him. You got to go to this
Such
address,
BS. Yeah.
and like, of course, I'm like, okay, yeah, like like,
That's like
go ahead.
that's like if you did me a favor and I told the person like, "Oh, I'll go on a date with you if you do me this favor." And then when you do the favor, like, "Well, here's my friend you can date." It's like, "But I wanted to date you. Like, you're right here. Like, this is kind of weird." So that I didn't like that. I didn't mind her being the don't train, but I agree with you. The whole like, "Oh, he'll be trained." Oh, but not by me. It's like, okay, I wish that could have been like a little more tight, but
And it's like,
we had to
what was
find a
I
way.
expecting? Did I think that she was gonna just become like a main character in the series? I probably shouldn't have, but I
Yeah.
was in the moment. Some just little theory that I had in my mind as we were talking, especially like regarding how he cut himself off the off from the force, or maybe why, or like the reasoning behind it. I so remember when he was force choking Cara Dune, season
Mhm.
1, and I was like, at that time, I just thought that maybe he was just like a really small child, that like it's just his instincts, is just he's getting angry, so therefore like that's just what's happening. I feel like it might even be more than that now,
Oh,
possibly
it
there.
is.
Yeah, yeah. So especially like since they mentioned,
Dark side Yoda.
oh, just yeah, like there's many different options, whether it was a dark side user that suppressed his force power, so he's been exposed to that, so he's always kind of known what it was. It's not so much like an instinctual thing, like I'm just trying to save my friend, so therefore I'm angry and I'm just using like the dark side powers there, or he's already been experienced it before. Like I don't know, there's just so many questions that have a like have a, just risen since now that we know that he was at the Jedi Temple and he was around these super powerful Force users, and just the different things that he's experienced throughout his years, because he's not just a little infant like we thought. In even though they said he was 50 years old, like his mannerisms and his behavior, we always just kind of looked at him as a child. You know, that was his name to this point, but now we know he did get formal training. He did know how to use the force and all these things. It was either a choice or an event that caused him to cut it off. So just really interesting theories that can come out of this.
Yeah, you make a great point, because backtracking now, even his force healing abilities on Grief Karga, like, it's not, he's obviously been trained on those things.
Yeah,
So
it's not like an instant. right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it just
Yeah.
opens up so many doors.
Oh, I'm just excited to find out more.
Hmm
And I'm really happy that it's not just like, okay, the child's with Ahsoka for the next 4 episodes. We'll see him in the finale, and then it's Mando going to do some more filler thing. Maybe run into Bill Burr and his crew again.
Oh god. Well,
Chill.
so now that Mando's obviously got his new heading and he's going to find, more Jedi, I guess. So that's interesting, and that's something we were talking about, Travis, was the remaining Jedi left. And I'm just gonna put this out there. So I like, we know Ezra's somewhere out there. We know Cal could be still alive. We don't know the end of his story,
Yeah.
and then we know that, okay, Luke is definitely out there. Now I'm in the camp where I don't think that Luke is actually going to make an appearance in this show. I think that Luke has his
In the
own
show?
in this show. I think Luke has his own journey.
Wow.
He's got his own saga, and he's got his own things that he has uncovered. I feel like they're either going to, unlikely, bring in Ezra. Very unlikely. Maybe the Cal thing I think is loose, but I think that they're just gonna create a new Jedi. That's to me that makes the most sense, and they could get away with it because people, again, that don't know about Ahsoka, to them Ahsoka's a new Jedi, so they could do it again with a brand new Jedi character.
So it's different though for me. Why I feel already they're trying to build up whoever this reveals it's somebody. Because with Ahsoka, it was just I need to find a Jedi, right? And then he just gets a name from Bo-Katan, like you need to find Ahsoka Tano, and then he goes on his venture. This why I told you last night of what I'm worried as far as not worried. I'm fine with Luke appearing, but it has to be done very right. You got to get. We saw to me personally with Solo. I think it was a big misfire, the casting, everything like that. But for her to say, go to this ancient Jedi temple, stand there, he'll get a calling and he'll know his way. To be like, go to an ancient Jedi council or temple. And one of the only things we know that Luke was doing prior to Force Awakens was just visiting ancient Jedi temples. It's very like line interception. Like I feel like they're trying to set that play. And when she's just like, there's not many Jedi left out there. That to me is a line as far as you're right. There could be a Jedi they create, or it could be one of the people, Cal from the game or Ezra from the show. But to me, if she says that line, if the mainstream people are watching, they right away think, well, I know of one Jedi out there. And that's why I feel like they have, if it's not Luke, if they don't design it to be Luke, I think they got to be really careful because I think a lot of people are thinking about that. I think they already know who it is. They've planned. That's one thing that I love about this show, other than, or like what the trilogy should have had is they have a plan. They know where they're going. I'm not going to say the show. I could say this season, next season, but I still think a Luke Skywalker appearance is possible, even in voice form. I don't think it's out of the question. And because they could do more of a reason as far as Ahsoka. Let's say he is going to try and train Grogru, and then something happens where it splits them apart, or if he's just going to, or Taylor, like I said, maybe my theory is right. This fucking thing ends with Kylo Ren just chopping. He's there that night. Imagine if that was the end of the show. Grogu's like growing up, and it ends that like the last episode is Mando leaving him, and it's the night where everything went down. And then the next season, no, that's not the last episode. You know why? Because the next that season, it's Mandalorian trying to hunt down who is this Ben Solo character. Oh fuck! And then you get Mandalorian, who now has the dark saber versus Kylo Ren. I'm fantasy booking it right now. It's in the realm of
That's
possibility.
a 30-year
where do you-
difference, so I don't know if that's likely. You're saying
Well,
30,
no, isn't it
30 years?
25 years difference?
No, the difference between, well, I guess at this point it'd be 25. So you're saying in 25 years exactly, or give or take a few years with the events that happened with the temple. So Mando just shows up. Hey, old man Luke, here's the baby Yoda. Drops
No,
Grogu off.
They have some conversations, and even then, we don't know exactly when he started this temple, right? So maybe he has him for a little bit, and then the temple starting stuff like that. Ben Solo's fucking Luke.
I feel like they're gonna
Snoke's over him,
toy
Luke
like
standing over him with a lightsaber, like, should I kill my nephew?
I feel like
And-
they're toying with people at the sense, because like they could have it where, okay, a Jedi approaches
are.
him, but they could also have it where, what if a Jedi approaches him, but they trick you and they make you think that's a Jedi, but they created like a new dark Jedi character.
Yes, that's what I very much want. Or even if it is something to do with like, I don't know if they want to tie it to Palpatine because Rise Skywalker so iffy in the fans' minds. But what I was saying before I got cut off last time is, I'm not sure Taylor if you said, but the planet they're going to, it's from a book that was Darth Bane's planet.
Yeah.
So that is a planet
Oh.
that is, yes. So that's
reading that,
where
yeah.
some Sith or dark side fuckery could be going on. And that's where, imagine that, like, if they found a way to, like, even have some, like, Darth Bane be secretly alive this whole time or something like that. Other people have thrown out, like, the Mace Windu theory of him being alive. I don't know if I I'm kind of in the camp where I'm fine with Mace being dead. I don't really want him to come back. I know the Vader fan series is doing that on YouTube, which is fine, but I've just always been like I felt like he would have popped up by now, in my opinion. It's just kind of strange, but hey, they can change it in a line. So, Kirkland, what do you think about the chances of this potential Luke Skywalker issue, as far as, or even just the whole? There, obviously, I feel like we won't get there this season, but I think next season will be the point of them getting to this temple. So, what do
Yeah.
you envision in your mind so far?
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we will get at least a small appearance of him. I can't see Mark Hamill just becoming a part of the show and like getting some de-aging or something on it. And there's still something in the back of my mind that's telling me that like they really kind of want to just have this separate from the Skywalker trilogy. They don't want to just
Yeah.
make this part of the movies. So I could honestly see like Ahsoka being like the most well-known Jedi that we get in the series. Maybe we do just get a bunch of no-name Jedi that have been like, yeah, we're kind of like a lower sect of, I don't know, Jedi Sentinels or something. Kind of just after 66 happened, we found out about it and kind of went rogue. I could see it doing something like that, because I do feel like they do want to keep this separate, especially since there is so much controversy around that newer trilogy. I feel like they'll be very cautious about trying to incorporate stuff like that, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility whatsoever to either get, like a Force Yoda conversing with Grogru at one point, even if it's just nobody sees it but Grogu, and it's just like the viewers and Grogu that share that moment. I think that could be really unique. I think that like Luke, that would just be like the ultimate Easter egg. I feel like all the fanboys that just love the original trilogy be like, oh, it's our guy in there, like the one Jedi that everyone loves. I feel like that'd be a really awesome moment, and
That's
they would
the
have
biggest gun. That's one of the biggest guns.
yeah,
to
exactly.
pull.
But
Yeah.
I still there's something weighing on my mind that I think that they'll really try and just bring in like new type of characters that we haven't seen before. But again, I'm not too well versed with like a lot of Clone Wars stuff. I don't know if there's other Jedi that have kind of been uh you know kind of dancing around that line of are they alive, are they not? I think Cal could be a fun Easter egg, but that is kind of like a more side game where mainstream audiences, I feel like Ahsoka would just be a much more well-known character than him, just for her look, and like she's been around for so long. Clone Wars started years ago, so I feel like even if you've never seen an episode, you've probably seen that character and her look before. So I feel like there's a possibility that she will remain like the most well-known Jedi.
If we're talking Sith fuckery, or maybe people being a little trickery and whatnot, obviously George has said before he doesn't like this character, but you never know what could happen. So I don't think we'll see her. But Taylor, what if it's a Mara Jade type? Maybe even if it's
Well,
not Mara Jade.
now that's the interesting thing, because now you're getting into that realm of characters that were created by Timothy Zahn, and he's one of my most like favorite goddamn Star Wars authors of all time. And I'm glad you brought that up, because he brought in that character Mary Jade. He also brought in that character Jedi Master like Kaboth, I think is his name, and he was basically a Jedi that went sent by the Republic. Kaboth, yeah, he was a Jedi who was sent by the Republic to go explore like the outer edges of the galaxy and beyond. And something happened, and somehow he was cloned by some like a Palpatine or something like that. He wasn't a very like stable clone. He was mentally insane, but he was basically in hiding. And then you have characters, which I will get into, created by Timothy Zahn, go out and find him, and he basically wanted to recruit Luke, and like he was trying to put out that he was like a good guy, but he had a very sick perspective and it was dark, and so he wanted to recruit Luke, and then he actually wanted to abduct Leia's twins that she's going to have and train them as his apprentices. So he was looking for Force users.
Ben
so
Solo,
yeah,
we go.
you have
Solo.
several different like dark side users like your Mara Jade, and then this character again, Kaboth, that could be in this kind of story, or equivalents that are supposed to rival them.
Yeah, they'll change the name. Yeah, like they did with Kylo Ren, right? Was Ben. What was his name in the canon novels?
It was
Ben
like
Skywalker
Janna and Jaina, or Jason Janna, I think, Skywalker.
Yeah, but he's pretty much that character, the Solo's kid, turn evil, stuff like that. So they could do where it's Mara Jade, but it's not Mara Jade. If kind
they
of a play on it.
were to drop that Mara Jade, it would like skyrocket like sideways so many different like fan bases, because there's so many people that love that character and the fanfic around her. But I know George was not like a lot of good, like if you didn't know Kirklin, she's basically Luke's love interest, and they had kids and stuff.
Ooh,
She was the
very
Emperor.
Which they
nice.
didn't
She
do in
was
the
the.
movies,
They didn't do
obviously.
it in the movies. No, she had the title the Emperor's Hand, and she was a dark side Force user for the Emperor.
Nice. Oh,
I do
the
think
dark
because
side
they
female
don't.
users, man. They have a way of attracting Jedi's.
I think because George is not a fan, they won't use her particularly. But like I said, I could see some
Well,
sort of
they did.
equivalent
They did
or
buy his
kind of
scripts, and they didn't use
version of it.
those. Remember? So,
But
fuck
the
you,
difference
George.
is with it being Filoni.
Yeah.
The difference is it feels like this show is very headed by Filoni and Favreau, and Filoni being like his apprentice. I think he would feel like a little betrayal that he wouldn't want to step over that line. But you saying like, oh, if they drop a name like that, that opens up a bunch of doors. This is what I've been harping on for years. There, I can't say that's not gonna happen because they're finally doing that. The second they introduced an Ahsoka, a Bo-Katan, they're showing okay, even just the animated stuff. But now I know Thrawn has been brought into animation, but
Oh,
still he spawned from Legends. He spawned from Legends. So and we get into that right now. For her to say, "I'm looking for Kirklin," you all right there?
Fucking strobe
For
going on.
you, yeah. For her to say, "I'm looking for your master, Thrawn," that is like
oh.
that kicks open the door. Again, he's been adapted in animation, but still his point of origin was in Legends, which was in the books after the movies. So her saying Thrawn to me opens up another door. So the Mara Jade or just characters from there, Darth Bane, Revan. We're getting close. We're getting closer to those doors. We're so
Yeah.
close to that Revan door. I can fucking smell it, and
Frodo.
I'm just getting so like how bad I want Knights of the Republic the show, and especially the way that TV like the game works with him losing his memory and you're going planet planet. You could get 5 to 6 seasons of that show easily with a Jedi. And now we've seen Jedi and lightsabers look good on TV and whatnot. But I'm saying that every time that door that opens, there's another door in front of it. And the thing is, we have the keys. They're looking through. They're looking for the keys. It might take them a little while, but we're getting there. Unlike the movie. So them saying Thrawn, I'm not gonna say anything's on the table, but we're getting very close to that. We're getting into fucking Legendsville. We're getting to Knights of the
Yeah.
Republicville.
Yeah, that really itches me the right way. Yeah, I'm currently
Like a
reading through
dog
like
when
the
they get
Darth
the
Bane.
ear.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I'm getting like that leg kick going like
Yeah, yeah.
involuntarily. Yeah, I'm currently reading through the Darth Bane series, and I absolutely love that old Sith stories that they have, and just hinting at that stuff, it really really gets me excited. I don't want to get too overhyped because again, that's just so like long ago in the time era to where we are now. So it is kind of tough to think about how they would do it, but just the fact that they have Thrawn actually spoken about in a live action Star Wars thing, like I was losing my shit because I know how much Taylor loves that guy. I have like no attachment to that character, but I was excited. Just oh yeah, look at that. Now, the only thing that I was thinking though is that is like a newer Thrawn book, right? Like it's no longer a part of Legends; it's a part of canon
Yeah,
in
they've
theory.
written
You know?
four new canon Thrawn books.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe they're just going with the non-Legends novels or like stuff like that. I don't know. I don't want to get too overly optimistic on something that I care so much about because I don't want to get my hopes up and then get let down. But just the fact that we're talking about these different characters, we're possibly getting introduced to new Force users, whether it's light side or dark side. It's exciting because I like that we're getting out of that cookie cutter. They got to be related to Skywalker. They got to be related to Palpatine. Otherwise, they're not a part of the show. So
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, obviously, yeah, you want to have your expectations. I'm not saying next week they're going to announce. Here we go. We're going into it. But
Darth
you would
Bane,
think
Darth Revan, Darth Malik.
yeah, where we were like 2 years ago, even we were kind of like, they're not going to do any of that shit, or they're not interested in that
Yeah.
stuff, right? And that's where it's like same thing. That's why I always got a little like, I'm sure I'm excited for the Boba Fett show that's supposedly filming, but when there's like, we're making a Boba Fett show, it's like, all right, like I already have Mandalorian. I don't need another character from the original trilogy, but that's where it's like, it could be even 2 more years till we get Knights of the Republic or something in Darth Bane. But that's a good thing of like, if we meet Thrawn and there's an episode that centers around something in the past, the same way this show is using, it seems like Ahsoka might spin off, Bo-Katan might spin off. They can use this show or other shows to spin off different things. So if there's some sort of story about the old Sith or something like that, it could just be in an episode. But then it's like, I feel really like that. If it plays, hey, we could do a whole show about that. And that's the great thing about the shows and the movies. You had a bit more. Oh, will people go out and see Knights of the Republic? People now will give Knights of the Republic a chance on Disney Plus. Like, I always thought it didn't
100%.
need to be a movie, a trilogy, but now with me seeing how this is working, It's one of these. I'm not saying I never want to see movies again. I just want to see movies when they maybe have a bit more planned, or go the Rogue One solo style movies that I don't love, but just make them their own separate, like a one-off, and that's it. Or maybe you could do a sequel. But this whole like laying out a big plan and stuff, I feel like this could be the TV's
Oh,
route. And we're like I said, Nights Over Republic 5 seasons. You could cover so much, you know.
oh, 100%. And like I even was having this thought watching last week's episode of just like seeing these Disney Plus Star Wars properties. It just I'm starting to see like such like a potential to them, whereas they don't have
Yes.
to focus so much money on one idea, and hopefully, especially like the Disney motto, they want to appeal to all audience to get their money back because they're investing so much into it, right? Like these Star Wars titles are such a huge thing. Doesn't matter if you make a perfect Star Wars film, you're gonna get critics, and they're just trying to minimize that as much as possible because they're a huge corporation like that. But with Disney Plus, like you just mentioned, Travis, they can mention something in one episode, and if all of a sudden everyone is asking for that, they're like, okay, you know what, we can have a smaller budget TV show. We can try out, let's say, one season, you know, see how
Mhm.
it see like they can get weird with it. They can do different things.
Oh yeah.
They can do more something kind of like a Rogue One where it's just there's no force users. It's just kind of like a more war type film or
Oh yeah. Taylor would love
series,
that. Yeah.
or you know like it might be a harder budget
Make
because it's no CGI, but like fucking space battles and stuff, you know?
I don't care. Make a fucking pod racer show. I don't
Oh yeah,
care. I want to see that. Get
yeah.
it about like the professional one season of professional pod racing, follow characters trying to win. Like that's where I wanted the shows, but after Mandalorian, which for me, I do like the first season, but I felt like they weren't tying to Skywalker, but still felt like kind of safe to me. It still felt like, okay, we're not getting too weird. It's just a Mandalorian on some adventures, which was still good, happy to see. But to me, it always felt like they wouldn't give you the rights to use Boba Fett. You wanted to make a Boba Fett show. Now they're fucking making a Boba Fett show because they're showing, oh, people don't care. We can make as many as we want. But before it's like, you want to make a Boba Fett show. You don't want to use the name. Fine. This is it. And you've thrown some cool stuff like Baby Yoda. But now it's like with them doing these little things, they are showing that, okay, having a Jedi in the show, again, that kicks open another door before. Is like, it's not just, I always wondered, is that going to be something that's safe for the movies? You know, could we never get like, you can do whatever you want here, but a Jedi, no, we don't want to see a single lightsaber on Disney Plus because we want to save it for the big movies. Luckily, not luckily, but like with the movies kind of having some faults lately, they might go like, well, you know what? Let's change it up. And I feel like lots of like we see that with DC bringing Keaton back. We see that with Marvel and Toby. I just feel like there's lots of companies now being like, you know, to get people's money more, we should maybe really start thinking outside the box and like
Hmm.
what could have seemed 5 years ago. Like same thing now. Like for DC, Superman is gonna have a show on TV. For 5 years ago, there was a thing on CW. You're not allowed to use Superman or Batman. Batman has appeared on Titans and CW, and Superman's appeared there. I feel like that could have been the same thing of like, don't do anything main. You know, you can't use a Luke Skywalker appearance in the show. Now I'm in the mind that even if it's a voice, I feel like we could get it. It feels like we're in a whole new world, and that's this whole season. But I think this episode specifically really felt like, okay, they're lining up to jump into canon, which I like. I do like canon. I just always thought canon didn't matter because the first 4 years of Disney, it didn't. It really didn't. It didn't matter if you read the books. Didn't matter. They even wrote books for Rogue One, but they wouldn't refer to them really. It'd just be a thing in the past. Like now that utilization, it just opens the doors for, like you said, let's get weird. Let's,
Oh yeah.
give me that fucking 3 episode Jar Jar, the Fall of Jar Jar show. Let's see what happens.
Have like a more, again, it's Disney Plus. I don't know how far they would go with it, but they can make like a thriller type show where they're like monster hunting or something. It's kind of like a Jurassic Park feel, you know? It could
Look
have a
at that
totally
episode. Look at the Spider episode we just got.
no, exactly. Like that
Yeah.
I think that was when I was having these thoughts of like, man, like there's so much potential with these Disney Plus shows because they don't have to focus $1 billion movie, you know, and hopefully get all that money back. Otherwise, it's a huge failure where they could have a lower budget show and experiment with these ideas, and people are like, wow, like I love Star Wars, I love that world, and this is something so different from what I've seen before.
And just like superhero movies, not every superhero movie has to be about the end of the world. That's why I love
Mhm.
Birds of Prey. That's why I love Joker about Deadpool, like stuff like that. Like it doesn't have to be. That's where the Skywalker trilogy is, right? There's another Death Star.
Yeah,
There's Star Killer Base. There's
the
thousands of
chosen one.
ships that are Star Killers. Yeah, where this is like you got to find this kid a home, and same thing with the Prod Racer show. If I got that's like you got to win the cup. You gotta like whatever it is, like that's where it is. The same thing with Knights of the Republic could be like you're building the Sith, or you're just trying to find out who you are. Those are, and I'm not saying never do a show where the stakes are really high, but just build to that. And that's where it felt like this episode the stakes were high, but they're building to it. So,
Yeah.
Taylor, do you have anything to add? Because me and Kirkland had a big
Oh,
volley right
I
there.
got
But
something to add. Holy shit.
Well, we're gonna talk about Thrawn next week, so save that.
Yeah, okay. Um, yeah, this episode again, it was absolutely incredible. It blew my mind. And then I was not expecting whatsoever for Ahsoka to just to drop that "Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" I was like pulling my hair out. I threw my pajamas out the window. Like it was just so insane. Like I couldn't fathom what just happened.
Were you naked after that?
I was, yeah. Um, um, it just Grandma Thrawn to me is the greatest Star Wars character of all time. He is intelligent, he's calm, he's collected, he is so cool, he is just absolutely fantastic. And when they brought him out of Legends into Rebels, I thought this is so cool, this is amazing. Like it's not live action, but I'll take it. I get to see my favorite character of all time in Star Wars represented on a show. And now again, when they did the live action show Mandalorian, I kind of like opened the door thinking like, well, what if they were to take other characters and do like cameos or stuff like that? And now this season again has been all about that, pulling bits from the universe and throwing these cameos in and bringing these characters. And I'm not necessarily thinking that Thrawn is going to be in this season. I don't think Ezra is going to be in this season. Maybe the next season, whatever. But I think that's jumping over the fence a little too fast. I think in this sense you have. Okay.
Unmute your mic. Sorry to cut you up.
You don't think they're saving them for the Ahsoka show if that's happening? 'Cause
Oh
that's
no,
where I
they
feel
will.
like
I don't
this
mean
is-
they're not going to do it
yeah.
in this show. That's definitely an Ahsoka show thing for sure. Because Ahsoka and Thrawn and Ezra have this huge character arc together in Star Wars
You're
Rebels.
gonna say love triangle.
Love triangle, yeah.
Intrigued.
Ezra and Thrawn have a very intense kind of situation that unfolds in the finale for Rebels. It's
yeah,
nuts.
it does. Oh,
yeah. So this
It's nuts, all right. Lots of nuts.
this
I
just
like nuts.
this just it blows my mind that we got that name drop. It shows again another clear direction that they're heading for, and I don't need anything else right now for Thrawn. Like that's just that a reassurance for me that they have a definite direction and idea that they're gonna implement Thrawn live action with live action Ahsoka Tano with live action Ezra Bridger. Just blows my mind, and it just makes me so absolutely like ecstatically happy. And
You're in the golden era for Taylor, that's for sure.
It is like that's like the best birthday gift I could have ever had. Like like to end a birthday. Holy fuck! But it's so unique to see where they're gonna go with that story because again with the Legends you have Thrawn that was basically in the Outer Rim. He helped basically all of his information help the First Order regroup and navigate the Outer Rim and the unknown regions to do what they had to do to survive. So he's got this knowledge about him to help the Empire, and I'm wondering, okay, I don't need it to be that way with him and Gideon. I don't need Gideon to report to him. I'm okay with Gideon being his own thing, and that's a story that I'm putting aside because Gideon is for the Mandalorian, and Thrawn will be for Ahsoka's story. That's how I look at it. And Thrawn is obviously alive and well and doing what he's doing because this whole episode was about one of Thrawn's operations, essentially. I don't know who.
Imagine first episode of Ahsoka show. She's like, "I found you, Thrawn." And he's just like dead in a chair. Taylor would be fucking broken like that.
Game. Decapitate him.
I'd write a letter to
Yeah.
Filoni. Filoni, what the fuck?
I
We
mean,
finally get him.
we've already come so far though from like this character that I remember Taylor was describing who it was, and I'm like, I've never heard of this character in my life. And then he got introduced into Rebels. That's not live action, but still like see him as a character. And then you got the new book, and now we actually mention him on live actions. It's pretty
Well,
crazy.
again, it's like I don't hate to say it, it's a ab comparison. It's much like the MCU where you hear about Wakanda in a couple movies, and then you start getting there, and then you meet T'Challa first, and then you meet the Black Panther, and then you meet you get the whole movie, and you go to Wakanda. It's like this where it's like, okay, you heard about this guy, and then it's like you said, they put him in animation, they did another book, and now his name's set in a show. It's like it's only building one way, and that's where again, yeah, I was excited because I'm excited for the character. I don't know much about him other than what Taylor's told me, but I like that type of character set. But I was more excited for Taylor to like, okay, that's his boy finally getting a shout out in a live action thing, and let's just say I'm happy he wasn't in fucking Rise of Skywalker. As
I'm
that
so
Grand Admiral
glad.
getting blown
I'm
away,
so glad he's in Mandalorian and not Rise of Skywalker. Fuck.
Well,
Taylor.
there you go, and that's the thing and this character could really build to whether he's an antagonist, and even then, like stuff with the books, like he has scenes with Vader. You don't know; they could easily do a flashback and a show of him with
Oh.
Anakin, him with like again these things that open up. This is what I think people wanted. I think this is what people wanted out of like that's the same reason why we got it a little bit, but it was always like, hey, like. I can infer that Han and Leia sent Ben Solo away because they want him to be a Jedi, but they're really struggling with it. But you get like one or two lines. We wanted to see that stuff of like Luke recruiting people, his Jedi Council. Like we wanted to see all this like canon, like nerdy stuff. We wanted to see all these things they mentioned of how we got there instead of just being dropped there. And that's the thing. What?
You see that
This
door?
door
open?
just slowly
Fuck it! I saw it. And I was like, "Who the fuck's coming in?"
Taylor dies.
See if
Yeah.
you get murdered live stream. Oh.
Uh,
Well, Kirklin, you're definitely gonna have to learn now. Taylor's about to get murdered. But no, that's the thing. We just wanted those details, and I think that's nice. Where it opens it up, where the other trilogy, again, not trying to bash on, but that was some of I think ours and other fans' biggest complaint is that we needed more backstory, and you can get this now. And I'm I'm excited to see what they do if they do a Ahsoka show, like how much they refer to Clone Wars and stuff. But I already seen from this episode that I feel like they're gonna handle it in an aptly way.
yeah. So I got a question. So we have Gideon. Is he just Moff Gideon or Grand Moff?
He's just a Moff.
He's Grand Moff, isn't he? Is he not a Grand?
No, I don't believe so. I'll pull up his rank, but I'm pretty sure he was just a Moff. Grand Moff Tarkin, I think, was the only Grand Moff.
Right. So then we have Moff Gideon. I guess that would obviously be below Grand Moff. But then how does like Grand Admiral like compare to that?
Oh,
Is
so
Moff higher than Admiral?
you have okay. So there are 7 Grand Moff governors essentially. So how? Ow! Fuck! God! What the fuck?
Jesus.
He fucking bit my leg.
He's gonna get murdered
What
on
is wrong
stream.
with you? Get out of here! Fuck!
He's gonna get killed on stream by
My
fucking
God.
cat, and that's how we go viral. Podcaster killed by cat.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyways, so, you have 2 basic like hierarchies in the Empire, right? You have the military and then the political. So the Moffs are basically high ranks in the political hierarchy, and then the admirals and such are obviously in the military. So Grand Admirals are the top tier of the Imperial hierarchy. They are essentially, there's only a certain amount of them. It is insanely hard to get to, and again, for Thrawn, an alien in a racist or empire, to be getting Grand Admiral, it's like through the roof. But he does it, and that's what's so cool about his character. And then you have the Moffs, who are governors over systems. So yeah, he's rewatching.
He's rewatching.
Yeah. So you have I gotta calm down. Fuck.
This is gonna be a lot of good bloopers from this episode.
I need to see that blooper posted right after this.
He's literally like,
Yeah, everything you just said, that's really cool, especially like us considering like the I guess it would be like racial type stereotyping that would be occurring in the Empire.
Yeah, well, oh God. So you have oh, is it coming any second now? Oh, there it is. So
that's good shit.
You have you have basically the Grand Admirals again. They basically control fleets of Star Destroyers, and there's several different fleets that each one controls. And then you have the governors and the Grand Moffs, who basically govern over systems of stars, and they basically work politically hand in hand with the Imperial Navy.
Are they individual though? Like, let's say we have Grand Moff, he can't tell Grand Admiral what to do. The only people that can tell them what to do would be like Vader or the Sith Lord, whoever it is.
Grand Admirals would essentially, they would report to like a Vader or higher up, but then they have to follow certain political protocols. So if like a Grand Moff were to like set certain guidelines or protocols, they would probably have, usually meetings in this sense would be like, from the books, you have Palpatine, you have Grand Moff Tarkin, and you have Grand Admiral Thrawn and other Grand Admirals all discussing things cohesively. It's not really Grand Moff Tarkin coming in and just giving about orders, which obviously he did because he had a large political standing behind him.
So like the figurehead would be the Emperor. The
Yeah.
only people below him, and then you have like Grand Moff Tarkin and then Grand Admiral. They're kind of in parallel. Just I guess I was talking about
Punch
Mike.
your mic.
Yeah. So
Your
they're,
mic is
they're kind of in parallel there, but they're not like one can tell what the other to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. And then so I'm assuming they talk a lot about these like military and figurehead structures in the Thrawn series. Is that where you learned about it a lot?
That's where I've learned a little bit more, yeah, because you get to learn more of like the political side and the racist side to Star Wars and everything Thrawn is going through, and the kind of like the leaps he's jumping over to execute his own kind of agendas and his mindsets and such. Yeah,
That's interesting. Yeah, because I've never really learned too much other than what was in the movies about like the Imperial, just hierarchy and how that works. All the books I've read are pretty much Old Republic. I just kind of focus on that old Sith stuff that I find appealing. But you're definitely scratching my interest itch here. So especially if we ever, I guess it's kind of inevitable now, but when we do see Thrawn in there and they do talk about kind of what is going on, it'll probably just spike my interest even more. Maybe I'll have to jump into those novels.
Definitely do. I mean, imperial politics, like they're so corrupt, and it's all about like getting like some dirt on someone to like get ahead. Like there's like characters that started from nothing and worked in the empire for years.
So our politics.
Yeah, like our politics. Like you have characters that like started from nothing and then they work their way up as like a secretary, gathering evidence against their Moff that they're working for, and then they throw them off under the bus with all this evidence and report to Tarkin and get their position over a system and then look to gain further ahead. Like it's just so fucking like shady. And that's why Thrawn is good, because he doesn't look at it like that. He wants everyone collectively to work together to benefit and to be growing stronger. So
you had wordplay there. Throw them off. Was that supposed to be like pun from off? I liked it.
Yeah, if you believe it.
And like what you just mentioned, like the imperial politics stuff there, that again like just makes me think of, if they want to get weird and wild with Star Wars on Disney Plus, like make a show kind of like House of Cards, but like dealing with like that type of political stuff in the empire. Again, it might not, like, I feel like for most people that would watch a show like House of Cards, they like how it's parallel to like their own politics. So maybe it would be tough to get into like an alien type political thing, but speaking for me, and I think I can speak for you too, like it sounds so interesting if they made a show like that where it's just a drama. Really, it's not space battles and stuff. They might have that thrown in there, but it's mostly just focusing on this heavy drama with these characters and trying to like screw each other over and stuff like that. I find that type of stuff so interesting.
Anything else we talked about? Taylor could never notice anything. I put something in the chat and he just laughs randomly. What?
Or message, watch the mic. Oh, watch the mic.
Yeah, turn my gain down. We talked about a lot of things. The only thing we didn't really talk about is that village. Obviously, that was kind of taken under. We had, what was the main bad woman's name? Do you remember, Taylor? I don't, but
I'll Google it.
Spear holder.
What'd you say?
I had no idea. I said Beskar steel spear holder.
Yeah, so obviously that was how I thought that was a fun way. He's looking for Ahsoka. How does he get there? Oh, well, they want him to kill her, so they give him like a little information where she is. I liked the mini fight scene we got with Ahsoka and Mando. That was really cool. Like the way she outsmarted him was good. But no, I liked that. Again, like I guess it's because of the Ghost of Tsushima vibes I really enjoyed and the samurai vibes, but I like them taking the village back. I liked the fight that they had. I liked giving him the Beskar spear and him having that. I've been wrong for a while because I always thought, oh, we're going to get Ahsoka versus Moff Gideon with the lightsaber and darksaber, but I think Taylor was right here when we were talking today of saying there's a good chance that you're going to have Mandalorian with his Beskar spear versus Moff Gideon and his darksaber. So, because I was like, why does this guy need such a fucking huge like spear to carry around? Like, I know it's Beskar, but it is, but it's just so massive and inconvenient. But now it's like, okay, we're going to get a big fight. So, everything they did with like liberating the people and his connections with them. I liked everything. Like we talked about those cages, some really cool stuff. I like the environment. I thought there's one moment where her and Ahsoka were about to fight in the shots. Like it reminded me of Ghost of Tsushima, like backed up like it. Some beautiful
Yeah.
cinematography in this one. So I loved everything about that sort of stuff in this episode.
Don't you think it would be so lame though if like the show's all about Mandalorian defeating Moff Gideon, hopefully getting that dark saber eventually, and then it's like they just bring in Ahsoka to like do the dirty work for him, and then she's like, "Here's your saber. I'm gonna just go do my own show now." I feel like that'd be a little weak.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. So
You
it's
want the
good reason.
protagonist to take him out.
Yeah.
So that character's villain's name. Sorry, I'll just quickly shout it out. The actress's name is Wing Tao Cho, and her villain name was Governor Wing. So not much of a change of name, but
Okay.
I was wondering why you were saying the actress's name.
Yeah, me too.
Travis, you mentioned the Ghost of Tsushima vibe. I definitely see it now, especially like comparing it to like Act 3 when it's like a lot more burnt, like trees and stuff. So yeah, I didn't see it at first. So good observation from you.
Anything else to shout out? We talked about Grogru. We talked about Ahsoka. We talked about Thrawn. Taylor's. Is that agreeing? Or are you stretching
just
your neck?
cracking
Taylor?
my neck. A few bones break.
Okay. Well, I all my notes are gone. Anything else for you guys?
I have nothing more to say.
I'm honestly, I'm gonna drop it here and now. This episode is my 5 out of 5. It's just, it's too perfect. I knew to wait because there's gonna be something just so prime, and
That's
this is it.
You're allowed to give multiple fives. That's such a weird way of reviewing stuff.
He gets
I'm
one.
waiting to give my 5. You're allowed to.
Yeah, this is a 5 out of 5. This episode was
yeah,
everything. It was just so good. The score was amazing. The dabbles into the extended universes and the characters was through the roof. It was just everything like Star Wars. Like it was just, again, if you watch this and you play Call of Duty, the hype of watching this episode will get you a win. At Call of Duty, probably not, but it did for us. So
Ooh, I just got a text from a buddy of mine that's watched the episode. He has some background information. Apparently the planet Tython that they mentioned, that was apparently one of like the original planets of the Jedi, which were the original Jedi. It was actually the race of like original Force users. So he mentioned it's really awesome that they mentioned that in the show. Again, just another Easter egg. Obviously we didn't know it. So it's cool that they're just, trickling that stuff in there for people that have. And again, I think that's like Legends. So me talking earlier about them just kind of talking about non-Legends books, maybe I was wrong. And give me Darth Bane, give me Malik, give me all those guys.
All those guys. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, this was definitely our longest Mandalorian review yet, but it was warranted because there's lots to talk about. We'll be here. We got 3 more episodes left. Man, the hype's just, it's high, and we only got 3 more, but we're going to cover them all. If you like this, please subscribe to all those links we talked about at the beginning. Really good episode. We'll be back next time. It was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something like that. And I should promote this at the beginning, but soon we'll be doing a Video Games Awards prediction. We'll probably do a watch along for that. So, Taylor, good job hosting the new stream. It looked good. We had some technical issues, but we're going to all work it out. That's what we do at Geek First. So we thank, again, Travis in the chat for letting us know what was going on. But, yeah, no, Taylor, thanks for running this. And everyone, may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.
Taylor survived an assassination attempt.